Toyota Sienna, Honda Odyssey, or Kia Carnival. Which minivan should you buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. There's no way around it. If you need the maximum amount of interior space for carrying passengers and all your stuff, there is no beating the versatility of a minivan. An SUV just doesn't come close. And despite what many videos seem to say about how the minivan market is supposedly disappearing in favor of SUVs, the reality seems to be the complete opposite. Minivans are incredibly popular, high-demand vehicles, and they're so popular that in many areas, you have to order one and wait up to a few months to even a couple of years to get your hands on one. More on that a bit later. And for those wondering where is the Chrysler Pacifica for this comparison, well, I'll have some thoughts to share on that one towards the end of the video. For now, let's focus on the three top players of this comparison, the Toyota Sienna, the Honda Odyssey, and the Kia Carnival, which have all been significantly updated for 2025. Let's start with how they compare in terms of interior space, which is one of the main reasons to buy a minivan in the first place. All three of these come standard with seating for up to 8 passengers with a second row bench, or you can get available captain's chairs for the second row with seating for up to 7. Either way, all three minivans come with a folding third row of seats, which folds flat into the floor. Regardless of which one you buy, you are going to get an enormous amount of interior space, with comfortable seating for adults in all 3 rows of seats and a ton of cargo space, regardless of whether you keep the seats folded up or down. That's the reason you buy a minivan. They have a ton of space that an SUV just can't compete with. With that said though, the Honda Odyssey does come out a little bit ahead when it comes to maximum cargo volume and interior volume. And it also has the best second row seats in terms of their flexibility. They slide and fold extremely easily, making this a very versatile minivan, and they're also the easiest to remove, which gives you cargo van-like space. Which is a downside to the Carnival. If you go for the available reclining lounge seats, you cannot remove the second row seats, which is also the case with the Toyota Sienna, regardless of which trim you get. But if that's not a deal breaker for you, regardless of which one you get, you are getting an incredibly spacious and practical minivan, perfect for family duty. Now, in terms of their driving feel and performance, all three of these also happen to be extremely comfortable vehicles. They all have fantastic ride quality, very quiet, comfortable interiors, and they're just perfect vehicles regardless of whether you're commuting around the city or doing long highway road trips. You are going to get amazing comfort with all three. With that said, all three are very different when it comes to the available powertrains that you can get. Let's start with the Honda Odyssey, which is perhaps the most traditional of the three. The Odyssey comes standard with a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 engine, which produces around 280 horsepower and comes with a 10-speed automatic transmission with front-wheel drive only. On the bright side, this is a great performing drivetrain. You get a ton of power. It's definitely the quickest of the three, which also makes it a great vehicle if you need to do any kind of towing. And the other benefit is that this is a very well proven drivetrain. Honda has been using this naturally aspirated V6 for many years now, and its reliability is absolutely rock solid. So if you want a long-lasting minivan that's not going to give you a lot of repair headaches that you can rack up huge mileage with, the Odyssey is a fantastic minivan to go with. There are, however, some drawbacks. For one, it's only offered with front-wheel drive. You cannot get all-wheel drive, which is going to be a drawback for many. And the other issue with it being a big V6 is that the fuel economy is not very good, which is more or less what you would expect for a minivan of this size and weight. The other drawback, unlike other Honda vehicles, there is no hybrid option available on the Odyssey, which is unfortunate. And that brings us to the Kia Carnival, which is the only minivan of this group which gives you a choice between 2 different drivetrains, a regular V6 engine or a hybrid engine. The V6 is a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter engine that produces around 290 horsepower, comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and again front-wheel drive only. It produces similar power to the Odyssey and has very similar performance, making this a great driving minivan. Although like the Odyssey, it only has front-wheel drive, there's no all-wheel drive available, and again the fuel economy is not very good. But that's where the optional hybrid engine comes in, which is one of the major changes that the Carnival has received for 2025. The hybrid engine dramatically improves the fuel economy, able to achieve around 30 to 32 miles per gallon, or 7.5 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers, which is not bad for a big vehicle like this. Going with the hybrid does add around $2,000 to $2,500 to the price tag, but what's nice is that you don't sacrifice too much power. You still get around 242 horsepower, which makes it feel more than adequate. That being said, I do have some concerns with this hybrid. For one thing, it is a very small displacement 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine that's turbocharged, which is quite a small engine for a large, heavy vehicle like this, especially when you load it up with a lot of passengers and cargo. It is going to be struggling. And because it's also turbocharged, this engine is under a lot of heat and pressure, which brings into question its long-term reliability and repair concerns, which is a major concern with Kia, given that the company does have a rather spotty track record when it comes to reliability in general. Now, it is worth mentioning that the Carnival does come with the best warranty in the group, a 5-year comprehensive warranty, and in the United States, a 10-year powertrain warranty, which does provide a lot of peace of mind. But even with the best warranty, if you're the type of person that holds on to their vehicle for as long as possible and plan to rack up really high mileage, the Carnival is the most questionable one in this group. And that's where the Toyota Sienna comes in, being the real sweet spot in this minivan trio. The Sienna is only offered with a hybrid drivetrain, and it is a very fuel efficient one, able to achieve around 35-36 miles per gallon, or around 7 liters per 100 kilometers, significantly better than the other minivans in this group, including the hybrid Carnival. And not only does it have phenomenal fuel economy, but it's the only minivan here that's available with all-wheel drive. You get a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive with the Sienna, which is a major advantage. And like the Odyssey, you have an extremely well-proven drivetrain. Toyota has been using this hybrid system in many of its vehicles for a really long time. It's a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors and an eCVT planetary gear type transmission. An extremely reliable, bulletproof hybrid system that can tolerate a lot of abuse and major mileage without any issues whatsoever, which is exactly what you want in a minivan like this. So really, you get the perfect combination: fantastic fuel economy, available all-wheel drive, and excellent reliability. What more can you want in a minivan? The drawback of the Sienna is that it's not very powerful. It only produces around 245 horsepower, and because it's a 4-cylinder, again, when you load it up with a lot of passengers and a lot of stuff, it is going to feel a little bit labored. But it really is not too bad when you're driving normally, and to me it feels perfectly adequate. And given all of the benefits that you get, I really think it's a trade-off that you can live with. Now, even though all 3 of these minivans have very different drivetrains, as mentioned, all 3 of them are fantastic to drive and extremely comfortable, excellent family vehicles. And I've also really been enjoying the interiors in all 3. For 2025, all 3 vehicles have received a lot of significant updates, mostly when it comes to the technology, the connectivity options, and the touchscreen infotainment systems. The Carnival does have the most impressive technology and the most impressive displays and infotainment systems of the group. When it comes to the graphics, the user interface, it's a very impressive vehicle that comes with fantastic tech. Unfortunately though, the Carnival also has the worst control setup of the 3, especially the digital control panel, which switches between your audio and climate control functions, which is quite frustrating to use. And with a minivan, you really don't want to have to be fumbling around with irritating controls. This is supposed to be a utilitarian vehicle that's functional for families. And in that respect, both the Odyssey and the Sienna have much better control setups. Like the Carnival, the Odyssey has received some significant updates for 2025, including new technology and a new, better infotainment system with a 9-inch touchscreen display. Overall, it's a very good user-friendly control setup, significantly better than that of the Carnival, but it does have a few annoying touches, including this push-button gear selector, and the infotainment system doesn't have a 360 camera option, which is a major downside. Which is why, again, the Toyota Sienna seems to have the sweet spot in this trio with the best control setup, very straightforward to use controls that don't have much of a learning curve, fantastic technology, again with a new updated touchscreen infotainment system for 2025 with a really nice large 12-inch display, the same size as the one in the Carnival, and just has the best combination between excellent technology and great user friendliness, which is exactly what you want in a minivan. Some new features for 2025 that are unique to the Sienna on the higher trims is an available vacuum cleaner and fridge combo, which is really neat to have, as well as a rear seat reminder system, which will alert you if you forget passengers or pets in the back seats after leaving the vehicle. A very useful safety feature, which I think is great of Toyota to add. And some unique features for the Carnival and Odyssey that aren't available on the Sienna include a rear seat camera system for monitoring your kids in the back seats, which is a pretty neat feature to have. With that said though, all three of these are extremely well-equipped vehicles and you can get some really impressive features on all three. All three of them offer excellent rear seat entertainment systems to keep your kids entertained for longer road trips. And regardless of which one you buy, you are going to get an excellent safety rating. These are all highly rated minivans when it comes to safety, crash testing, and they all come with a ton of active safety features. Now, how do these three minivans compare in terms of pricing? Well, the Carnival does seem to be the value leader in that area, priced between around $38,000 to $54,000 US, or around $43,000 to $60,000 Canadian. The Odyssey is priced between around $43,000 to $53,000 US, or around $52,000 to $62,000 Canadian, and for the Sienna, it's priced around $41,000 to $58,000 US, or around $48,000 to $66,000 Canadian. Having said that, pricing is one thing, but availability, that's something else, and that could be a major deciding factor depending on where you're located. The Odyssey in general seems to have the best supply of the three, with the best shot at just buying one straight off the dealer lot, or at most with a very short waiting period to order. The Carnival and Sienna, however, are a totally different story. Both Kia and Toyota are still both suffering from a major supply issue. In the case of the Carnival, you could easily be waiting between a few months to several months or even longer to get your hands on one. And in the case of the Sienna, well, in some locations, there are customers that have been waiting over a year, even up to a few years, to buy a Sienna, which is absolutely ridiculous. As mentioned, the demand for minivans is incredibly high. And what all of these manufacturers really need more than anything else is more manufacturing capability. They really need to find ways to produce more vehicles and bring down the ridiculous waiting periods, especially in the case of Kia and Toyota. So to me, what it really comes down to is this. If I had to put one of these minivans in third place, it would be the Kia Carnival. It's an extremely nice, well-designed minivan, there's no question about that, but it also has the most questionable reputation when it comes to its long-term reliability, especially in the case of the hybrid. There's some definite concerns there. It doesn't have all-wheel drive. The technology and user-friendliness of the controls is not really the best, and the availability is not very good either. If you ultimately want to have a no-nonsense, well-designed, high-quality minivan that's going to last you an extremely long time, that still has tons of excellent tech, lots of space, and is very safe, the real choice comes down to the Honda Odyssey and the Toyota Sienna. Here's how I would put it. If you live in an area, especially in the US, where you're able to actually get your hands on a Sienna without a ridiculous waiting period, there's no question it's the best minivan to get. It has phenomenal reliability, excellent build quality. The fuel economy is the best in the group thanks to that amazing hybrid system. It's the only one that's offered with all-wheel drive, and it more or less matches the other minivans in most other respects. It's just the best choice overall. But if you live in a location where getting a Sienna is just not feasible, if you have to wait over a year to get your hands on one or even longer, then it's just a ridiculous option. In that case, the Honda Odyssey makes much more sense. It might not have the hybrid system with the fantastic fuel economy or all-wheel drive, but this is still an extremely well-designed minivan with excellent build quality, excellent reliability, and with all of the updates that Honda has made for 2025, it really is a perfectly fine match to the other two. These manufacturers really need to get their act together and do something to improve supply because it's getting really ridiculous at this point. And until they do, the Odyssey is the minivan that, all things considered, just makes the most sense to go with. Now, before wrapping up, I did say before ending this video, I would touch on the Chrysler Pacifica. Now, my stance on that minivan is that it's just not a vehicle that's worth recommending. Chrysler has way too many build quality issues, and the reputation for reliability for the Pacifica is just not very good. On top of that, it's extremely overpriced, ridiculous pricing with very bad heavy depreciation, and Chrysler is a company that's just been struggling with so many issues as of late, customer service issues. I just can't strongly recommend it. That's a vehicle that's really best left for fleet duty rental car use, and that's really it. So there you have it. Now, after watching this comparison, which of these three minivans would be your go-to choice? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other videos by clicking the links. You can follow me on Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.